Hey everyone, this is Jenny from Homestead Corner, and today we are canning up some pork butt roast that we got a really sweet deal on. So we're going to go ahead and get these started, and these are really simple. We're just going to get these out of the package and start canning them up. Okay, so the first thing you want to figure out where your bone is. We've got a bone here, and the bone goes through down to here. So we are going to start cutting this up, and I'm just going to cut right down here. You can do this in smaller chunks or big chunks. You just want to make sure that they're small enough you can fit them in your jars. And I like to use pint jars for this because that is perfect size for our family when we use it. It's usually 1 pint at a time. I definitely need sharper knives for this. I'll move that over. And then we're just going to cut this up. Turn it so I get hold of this baby. So we're going to leave the fat right on this because that gives it all the flavor. I love all that flavor in there. And you can just, excuse me, when you take this out, you can just rinse this off if you want to get all that fat off, or you can heat it up and kind of drain it off, however you want to do it, which is nice. So as we cut, we're just going to start loading up our jars. I've got all my jars over here, all clean. You want to make sure they're nice and good and clean. And we're just going to start layering this right in. And you're going to want to pack it right in there pretty good. This shrinks up quite a bit. And you want to make sure you leave your 1-inch headspace, which is the bottom rim. And then we're going to cut a little piece just to fill this jar. And we'll just stick that right down in there. And that gives us our head space, and the jar is full. And it's really this simple. Pork butt roast is so good. I love to take this meat and take a can of it, and you can season it with some taco seasoning. This makes great pulled pork tacos. So good. And also, you can use it for pulled pork sandwiches. You can make pie out of it, like a chicken pot pie, but with pork. We do that. All kinds of fun stuff, definitely. So we're just going to keep going until we have all of our jars. Okay, so we are just getting through our first roast, and I definitely have no skills for deboning meat or any of that. But I will leave this little bit of meat on here and throw this in the freezer, and we'll use it for a soup or stock or something later. But I also wanted to show you this fat cap got really thick as we got into the middle of the roast. I don't mind the thinner, really thin stuff. I don't mind that. But if it gets really thick, it just takes up too much space in the jars, and you know, I'm not eating this fat cap. So I just pull that off if it gets too thick. So I just wanted to show you that also. And you can use this to clarify for lard or whatever later. But we're going to get started on our second roast now. And again, we're just going to find that bone and make sure we cut around that. It's over here. So we've got, this is all meat over here, which is really awesome. So we're going to get cutting this baby up. Okay, so I could definitely squeeze another jar out of here, but I've got 16 jars and that's going to fill my canner with these wide mouths. So I'm going to take this whole rest of this and just throw it in the bag with the other bone, and we'll make a nice soup out of this, and it'll have plenty of meat on it. So so I've got the 2 bones, and no waste this way. We want to use every last drop of it that we can. So we'll just throw that in a plastic bag in the freezer, and then when we're ready to make a soup, we can take those bones, and it's got plenty of meat on it. We can pop it right in a pot and whip up a nice, hearty, delicious soup. And so we're going to finish these. So now we've got all our jars filled, and they're filled to the top with this lovely pork. We've got 1-inch headspace, and I'm going to add just some canning salt. I like to use canning salt because it doesn't cloud the water or discolor anything. So I do use that, and I'm going to put just a 1/4 teaspoon because we're not huge salt fans, but we do like a little bit of salt. You can put a 1/2 teaspoon or even a whole teaspoon if you like that much in here, but we just do like a 1/4 teaspoon, and that is enough salt for us. And then, you know, we may season it with more salt when we cook it, when we heat it up, but it just depends on what we're doing. And a lot of times, if you're using, like, I love this for pork tacos. It works really great for that, but that's kind of salty anyway, the taco seasoning. So that is it, just a 1/4 teaspoon. And then we're going to take and use just some vinegar, because meat is really greasy. You want to make sure you use vinegar on this, because all the grease from the fat, all that fat on the rim, can cause a poor seal. And the vinegar is just going to make sure it's super clean and you don't have any fat or anything on there. And after all this hard work and money invested, even though it was a great deal, you've got money invested in this, you do not want to have bad seals and lose all this delicious meat. Let's get a clean one. You can tell when it starts, if you start getting a buildup of fat, you can't always see it real good in there, but you can feel it when you're wiping the rims. It starts to get a little slippery. See, it looks clean, but and when I don't use a funnel when I fill these, it's just a pain in the butt. I feel like it's easier just to use your hands, and I like the wide mouths for meat because they come out easier. So this just works this way. And then we will, and you don't put any liquid in this. This will make plenty of its own juices. So you do not need to add any water or liquid of any kind to this, which is nice. And then we're just going to put our lids on. Oh, they're going to fly all over the place because, you know, I like to get a little wild. There we go. And now we're just going to add our rings, and you just want to do these finger tight. You don't want them too tight. You want the air to escape. You just want them closed. Do any of you can pork butt roast? I'm curious of what you use it for. Always looking for new ideas. And we love pulled pork sandwiches and pork tacos, and I've used it in like a pot pie. It's really good for that. It's great in casseroles. I found all kinds of really cool uses, but I'm curious if anybody has any other really cool ideas. I'd love to try them. Rings are getting old. They're not fitting quite right. I have to toss those babies out, but I use them until they don't work anymore. If they don't go on right, I chuck them, and then we just keep using them. They look kind of grody sometimes, but we just use them to pressure can in, and then, or water bath, or whatever canning we're doing, and they come off before they go into storage anyway. So, all right, so we're gonna get these loaded into the canner. And okay, so we got all 18 jars into our canner. I use a 22-quart Miro canner. I really love this one. I've had it for 4 or 5 years, and I just love this. It works really nice. I haven't had any issues with it, and it's great. So we're just going to get our cover on, and we're going to get this puppy started. Okay, so we're going to let this vent for 10 minutes before we put our weight on. And because these are pints, I'm going to can them at 10 pounds of pressure because of my elevation. And pints, you can for 75 minutes. So we're going to get this cranked up. And I will bring you back. Make sure after you're done canning, you want to let this sit and cool down all on its own. Never mess with the weight or anything. Just pull it off the heat and make sure this is down, your little safety. And then once that is... it's all come down in pressure and the pressure's all gone, then you can remove your weight and your cover will open. And you always want to open this away from yourself so the steam goes up in the back. You don't want to get burned. This is super hot. Okay, so we got all 16 pints out of our canner, and they are looking really, really good. They're still bubbling and boiling hot. And each pint jar holds about a pound of meat. So you can, when you're using recipes and stuff, if you need 1 or 2 pounds of meat, you can grab 1 or 2 jars or whatever you need for your recipe. And there's tons of great broth in here because this is just the juices from the meat all on its own. There's nothing extra in here, and they're perfect to use in tons of different recipes. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.